Brazil has been the cradle of the greatest legends in football history. Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, Ronaldo Nazario, Cafu, Pelé, and Garrincha. But imagine this, what if we brought all of them together in one single team? Well, today we did it. 5 artificial intelligences went head-to-head to create the ultimate all-time Brazil effect. And I'll tell you right now, some of these decisions are going to spark real debate. Let's start with the bench. For the manager's position, Grok didn't hesitate for a second. Mario Zagallo, a one-of-a-kind figure in football history. World Cup champion as a player, as a coach in 1970, and as an assistant in 1994. He's the only man to win the World Cup 4 times in different roles. Zagallo was the mastermind behind the 1970 Brazil team. That orchestra-like side led by Pelé, Tostão, Jairzinho, Rivellino, and Gerson, all playing under his direction. And the most surprising part? Every single AI agreed. So the first member of Brazil's all-time 11 is none other than Mario Zagallo. There was real debate over the goalkeeper position. Grok and Gemini agreed. They both chose Claudio Taffarel, the symbol of security and leadership between the posts during one of Brazil's most successful eras. Starter in 3 World Cups and 4 Copa Americas, he was the anchor of a legendary defense and one of the defining figures of the Dunga era. A rock-solid choice, no doubt. But ChatGPT decided to look further back in time and voted for Gilmar, the goalkeeper of Brazil's first 2 World Cup victories. A calm, elegant presence who exuded composure even in the midst of Brazil's footballing revolution. With Pelé Santos, he lifted 2 Copa Libertadores and 2 Intercontinental Cups, bringing that same level of excellence to the national team. He was the goalkeeper who defined what it means to be a world champion with Brazil. LeChat sided with that choice, leaving the final decision to DeepSeek. And its verdict was straightforward. Gilmar. The 2-time world champion takes his place as the goalkeeper in Brazil's all-time 11. Let's move on to the defense, which in theory should have been the easiest part, or so we thought. For the right-back position, Grok was absolutely certain. Carlos Alberto Torres, captain of the 1970 Brazil team, the man who lifted the World Cup and sealed the final with that unforgettable strike against Italy. The complete leader, elegant, technical, and the very definition of what it means to be the perfect fullback. But ChatGPT didn't agree. Its vote went to Cafu, the tireless captain of Brazil's 2002 World Cup team, the only player ever to play in 3 consecutive World Cup finals, and the man who ruled the right flank for over a decade. His stride, energy, and tactical intelligence were unstoppable. No one else wanted to argue. Cafu claims the right back spot in Brazil's all-time 11. Before crossing to the other side of the field, we need to talk about the center backs. And here's where things got messy. DeepSeek wanted to keep Carlos Alberto Torres, reminding everyone that he also played as a center back. But Gemini went further back in time and voted for Djalma Santos. 4 World Cups played, champion in 1958 and 1962, always calm, firm, and incredibly clean in defense. Grok, however, went for a more modern name, Aldair. One of the most complete defenders Brazil has ever produced. With over 80 appearances for the national team and a World Cup title in 1994, he was the kind of player who brought the ball out of defense with elegance. But then ChatGPT decided to surprise everyone. Its vote went to Domingos de Guia, known as the Divine Master, a center-back way ahead of his time. At the 1938 World Cup, he changed football history. Calm on the ball, reading the game, building from the back. He was the first Brazilian defender to turn defending into an art form. Only 1 vote was left. DeepSeek closed the round and also chose Domingos de Guia. So the master, the pioneer himself, takes the first center-back spot in Brazil's all-time 11. And to partner him at the back, the AIs didn't hesitate for a second. By unanimous vote, the choice was Lucio, the backbone of Brazil's 2002 World Cup winning team. A true leader, intense in tackles, dominant in one-on-one duels, and completely reliable in the biggest games. He also competed at the highest level in Europe, reinforcing his international reputation. Part of a defense that may not have been flashy, but was absolutely ruthless in knockout rounds. Without a doubt, a well-deserved owner of the second center-back spot. Now let's complete the defense with the left-back position. Surprisingly, ChatGPT voted for Nilton Santos, a true pioneer. He elevated the role to a new tactical dimension, not only defending, but also advancing intelligently to create numerical superiority both out wide and inside. But the rest of the AIs didn't agree. Can you guess who got the most votes? Yep, they all went with Roberto Carlos, the left back who completely redefined the position. His physical power, explosive pace, and above all, that thunderous left foot shot made him a constant threat in the attacking third. His free kicks are pure football history, the most famous being that impossible goal in the 1997 Tournoi de France, a strike that literally defied the laws of physics. Without question, Roberto Carlos takes the left back spot in Brazil's all-time 11. We move on to the midfield, where chaos and controversy return. For the defensive midfielder role, ChatGPT fired the first shot with its pick, Zico, the engine of Brazil's 1962 World Cup winning team, and the scorer of the second goal in that final. He was the silent balance of that back-to-back champion side, the man who did all the invisible work so that the stars up front could shine. But Lachat had another name in mind, Dunga. To him, the smartest and most successful defensive midfielder in Brazil's history. Captain of the 1994 World Cup winning team, the man who lifted Brazil's fourth title. Dunga wasn't the most technical, but he was the most efficient. 91 caps, 2 Copa Americas, and 1 Confederations Cup. His leadership, character, and pragmatic style made him, according to Lachat, the greatest number 5 Brazil has ever had. Gemini didn't stay behind and brought up a third candidate, Falcão. His choice over Dunga or Gilberto Silva was based on Falcão's ability to create play from deep and his influence on the legendary 1982 Brazil team that Seleção many still consider the best team in football history, even though they didn't win the World Cup. Still, his legacy remains untouchable, the embodiment of joy on the pitch. He was named in the 1982 World Cup All-Star team, cementing his status as a world-class midfielder who perfectly captured the spirit of Brazilian football. But in the end, DeepSeek and Grok agreed. Both voted for Dunga. And with that, the 1994 World Cup winning captain takes the defensive midfield spot in Brazil's all-time 11. Another controversial position, the creative midfielder. Grok opened the debate with a name impossible to ignore. Zico, considered by many to be the greatest creative midfielder in Brazil's history. He played 71 matches for the national team and scored 48 goals. An astonishing number for someone starting from midfield. Although he never won a World Cup, his influence on the 1982 team, that magical Brazil side that conquered hearts even without lifting the trophy, was monumental. ChatGPT, on the other hand, went with Gerson, a graceful, left-footed playmaker, master of the surgical long pass and the controller of the game's tempo. He turned midfield into a launching pad for Pelé, Jairzinho, and Rivelino, the silent brain behind the 1970 World Cup winning Brazil. But then Gemini came in with a third name, Rivelino. With his iconic mustache and unpredictable left foot, he was the embodiment of joyful, technical, and creative football. For Gemini, Rivelino was the great midfielder who connected defense and attack with unmatched natural fluidity. However, Lachat and DeepSeek had already made up their mind. Both voted for Zico, and with that, the eternal White Pelé secures his place as the creative midfielder in Brazil's. And we've reached the most magical role in football, the number 10, the playmaker. And of course, Grok couldn't have chosen anyone other than Pelé. 3-time World Cup champion, the centerpiece of the most iconic team in history, and the man who redefined what it meant to be an attacking midfielder. In this 4-3-3, he takes the role of the second striker who could do everything. Perfect first touch, effortless turns, killer final passes. And goals. Endless goals. Pelé didn't fit into the system. He was the system. He turned collective football into pure spectacle, without ever losing efficiency. His legacy goes far beyond numbers. He is the standard against which every attacking talent since has been measured. And honestly, who could possibly vote otherwise? All the AIs agreed. Pelé rightfully takes the number 10 spot in Brazil's all-time 11. And before revealing the substitutes, let's move on to the attacking trio. On the right wing, Gemini didn't think twice. Garrincha, the man who turned every dribble into a work of art. With his unpredictable footwork, absurd change of pace, and that mischievous smile of a distracted genius, he dismantled defenses all over the world. Garrincha didn't need tactics, he only needed space. When he started running, you knew something was about to happen. 2-time World Cup champion, eternal idol of Botafogo, and the living symbol of joy in football. Once again, no I could oppose the choice. They all voted for him. And really, who else could take that right wing? But what about the left wing? Grok was the first to speak up. Rivaldo, a left footer with a thunderous strike capable of playing between the lines and cutting inside from the left to finish. He won the Ballon d'Or and was a key figure in Brazil's 2002 World Cup triumph, scoring in 5 consecutive matches and carrying the team offensively when patience was needed most. With the national team, he combined goals, decisive passes, and brilliant tactical awareness to link up perfectly with the number 10. His competitive weight in Copa Americas and World Cups places him above many other legends in that position. But Gemini had a different opinion. For him, the left flank could belong to no one else but Ronaldinho, the magician who brought joy and fantasy to the very top of world football. Whether as a winger or an attacking midfielder, he showcased an endless repertoire: impossible dribbles, feints that defied logic, no-look passes, and goals that still seem unreal. He was one of the key members of the legendary 3R trio, alongside Ronaldo and Rivaldo, that led Brazil to win the 2002 World Cup. With 97 appearances and 33 goals for the national team, Ronaldinho embodied the very essence of Brazilian football, playing with a smile and turning every touch into pure entertainment. This time, opinions were divided. ChatGPT sided with Grok, voting for Rivaldo. But DeepSeek supported Gemini, betting on Ronaldinho's magic. The final decision was up to LeChat. And its verdict was clear: Rivaldo. He takes the left wing spot in Brazil's all-time 11. And before moving on to the substitutes, there's only one position left. And come on, we all know who Grok voted for, right? Ronaldo Nazario. The greatest pure number 9 in Brazil's history. The perfect blend of power, technical brilliance at top speed, and a killer instinct inside the box. 2-time World Cup champion, Golden Boot winner in 2002 with 8 goals, scorer of the decisive brace in the final against Germany, and a 2-time Ballon d'Or winner. His repertoire was endless. The quick feint, the diagonal sprint, the calm, precise finish with either foot. And the most impressive part, he came back from a devastating injury to deliver one of the most iconic titles in modern football. No one dared to vote differently. All 5 AIs agreed. The phenomenon is the undisputed number 9 in Brazil's all-time 11. Let's see who made it to the bench. As the undisputed backup goalkeeper, the choice was Tafarel, hero of the 1994 World Cup, where he was decisive in the penalty shootouts against the Netherlands and Italy. In defense, the most voted were Carlos Alberto Torres, the captain of what many still call the greatest team in history, Brazil 1970. And alongside him, Aldair, a starter in the 1994 World Cup and part of the 1990 and 1998 squads. In midfield, the decision was quite clear. Falcão, with his technique, vision, and extraordinary tactical intelligence. And right beside him, Socrates, captain of the 1982 Brazil team and one of the most influential midfielders of his generation. For the attack, there were many names on the table: Romario, Neymar, Jairzinho, and Ronaldinho. But the most voted were Romario, and of course, the magic of Ronaldinho Gaucho. What do you think of this lineup? Let us know in the comments, hit the like button, and subscribe so you don't miss anything. See you in the next one. More than football.